supposed to be getting off duty to leave at 6:30 this morning. I wasn't until 7:30. Some people use different clocks. And the one they were using wasn't the same one I was using. They had to run home, take a quick shower, and I mean a quick shower, so don't get too close, and they get up here. And I got right here as soon as the service started. The church, you deserve a preacher hitting on all 8 cylinders. I've been all night, and I'm hitting on about 7. And I want to apologize up front for that. You all deserve a preacher that's on all 8 cylinders. What I want to talk about today is God's will versus our will. God does have a plan for us. He has a plan that we all come to know Him. He has a plan that we all are to be Christians. That we all come to know His saving grace. That we all stand before Him on Judgment Day. And that we are presented to Him. God has His will in our lives. We don't always realize that. We are human beings and we have our will. Sometimes our will doesn't match God's will. Have a gentleman at work, or a young boy, I told y'all about about a year ago, little John. And I just wanted to bring y'all up to date real quick on that because this ties in a little bit to this service. Last year, he lives right beside the fire station. He has no father. He found his mother dead laying on the sofa. And at his mother's funeral, his older brother was arrested for murder. I told y'all about that, what that little boy had seen. And I just want to keep you up to date on something. He come out of the fire, it was just then. An elderly couple drove up and dropped him off. He's now 10 years old. He's living in Baltimore with his other grandparents. And he's doing real good. And sometimes we think about how tough our life is. What God's will is for us. We think about how much we fight Him. How much Satan wants us to fight Him. Think about that little boy, what he's going through in his life. His grandparents say he's doing very good now. And they take him to church, and he seems to, he'll never get over what he saw and what he went through. But God has a plan for that young man. I don't know what it is. I just feel that God has something in store for that young man. I want to read something to you first. I want to apologize again. I've been up all night. I want to start with read to you from Luke chapter 11, verses 9 and 10. So I say to you, ask, and it will be given. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be open. Prayer is one of the best ways to understand God's will. A lot of people, I think most successful people, Christians you talk to today, when you talk to them, they always tell you, I set aside 15 minutes every morning. I set aside 10 minutes every night. I set aside a certain amount of time each day to talk to God. I used to do most of my praying when I was driving because I do a lot of driving. And for quite a while every day, I was a good prayer and a poor driver. And some days I was a poor driver and a good prayer. But we need to set aside time every morning in prayer. That's going to help you understand God's will for you. Satan is going to be with us as long as we're on this earth. And you see a lot of Christians out there today, and we have enough in this church. We seem to go down the river very smooth on a sailboat. And every bump in the road, they seem to glide right on through it. They seem to have no issues with it. But I think for a lot of Christians, I think most Christians, especially me, it's like a river. And it's going very smooth. All of a sudden you go around a bend, and you're in the middle of some rapids. You're fighting to keep your head above water, and you're fighting to stay away. You're bumping into rocks. All of a sudden you get close to the shore, and you're able to pull yourself up. You walk on down, maneuver past some rapids, get back in the water, and it's a smooth track. Then the next thing you know, you go around another bend, and you're in the middle of some rapids again. I think for a lot of Christians, we live our lives are like that. Those that have that powerful faith that seem to glide through everything. In a way, I respect those people. I want to be like them. That's my goal in life, to defeat Satan at every chance I get. Because every time I turn around, he seems to be there. And I think a lot of Christians are like that. Those are Christians that say, get behind me, Satan, just like Christ did. And he seems to stay back there. Well, for a lot of us, every time we turn around, he seems to be coming around that corner, putting something in our path. And we seem to be in a continuous battle with Satan. And we're not following through with God's will. I think prayer is a powerful device, a powerful tool to use to understand God's will. So often we seem to have all these issues that are coming up on us. And in all fairness, most of the problems we have, we created on our own by not following through on God's will. I drive a truck part-time. And whether I'm on a long haul or whether I'm on a short, before I leave that terminal, I like to say a little prayer. I drive for the post office. And we will either go to different places, hit 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 post offices. And we're on a time limit. We have to be back on time. And they take money out of your pocket when you're not. So before I leave, I like to say a prayer to keep me on time, to have me do that job right, to keep me protecting me, make sure everything goes fine and get me back on time. Quite often I'll go at that terminal and I don't say that prayer. About halfway through, I find that I'm behind schedule, I messed up something, I forgot something somewhere, and all of a sudden I come to a halt. I'll stop that truck, pull over, and I'll say a prayer. And most of the time, God gets me back on schedule. Sometimes I'm so far behind, he can't. But quite a bit of us are like that in life. And we need to continuously pray. We need to keep everything that we do in our prayer. So often we get arrogant. We get prideful. Something comes along in our life and we think we can solve it, that we can deal with it. And we can't. I remember a man praying years ago and he said something that caught me off guard at the time, and it just didn't seem right. And he said, during the middle of his prayer, he said, bless that mess. And I never thought, it just didn't seem right. But if you think about it, every time we seem to do something without asking God to help us, we seem to make a mess of it. And bless that mess. Because if we don't invite God into our lives, if we don't invite him into everyday problems and things that we deal with, we're going to make a mess of it. He is the only one that's going to be able to solve it. But prayer is an important issue. I want to read something else to you now. This is from Psalms. This is another way I think we can use to keep his will in our lives rather than our will. He's saying in his word. This is from Psalms 119, verse 105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. It says a lamp to my feet. It doesn't say a bright beacon. It doesn't mean we can run through life wide open and the light will be shining and we'll never be derailed. It doesn't mean it says a path, a light and a path at his feet. It must be traveled. We must follow that path. But along that path, like I say, it's a lamp. There's going to be some darkness. But we need to keep our eyes focused on that light. We need to continue through that. I like to think of it sometimes as a train. And we're all boxcars on that train. And the Lord's in that engine and he's pulling us. But every once in a while, we want to take that boxcar as we're doing something wrong and it gets to shaking and we want to derail that train. We need to keep focused on that path. We need to stay in his word. The more you study his word, the more knowledge and wisdom you're going to have. When these issues come up in your life and you're wondering whether it's God's will or whether it's your will, the more we study his word, the more we will understand this. The more we'll be able to make decisions on our own, what is right, what is wrong.